Good morning. All right. So, our language goal for this week is I can create personal definitions for academic vocabulary. This week, what we're doing is we're taking a break at looking at a word's prefixes and root and suffixes. We're taking a little bit of a break from that. And what we're doing is we're taking a look at the outside clues of a word. Okay. And so here is sort of a guideline for creating your own personal definition for a tricky word. Okay. First, you read and say the vocabulary word. Next, you brainstorm what it is that you already know about the word. This week, again, with making inferences, we're really focusing on connecting what you already know. You've already got a lot of knowledge, a lot of experience, so you've got to connect that to what it is that you're reading. Next, this week we are going to be looking up words in a dictionary. Okay, so we're going to connect what we already know to this dictionary definition, and we're going to kind of compare and see like how those two fit together. And using what you know, using the dictionary, okay, you're going to write your own personal definition and use it in a sentence. So that was a list, and now this is what it looks like using the graphic organizer that I made. So you're going to write the word here. You're going to write the sentence that was already in the passage. You're going to look up your word, write the definition here. Here you're going to use that dictionary definition and your own thoughts. You're going to write your own definition that makes sense to you. And then here, you're going to use that definition to make your very own sentence. Not the sentence that was in the passage, a brand new sentence. As always, I'm going to do some examples for you. This is our example passage. You will have your very own passage to read and your very own vocabulary words to work with. This is just an example. Here's the passage. Is it human nature to love storytelling? Maybe so, because in every culture of the world, stories have been passed down from one generation to the next. These traditional stories include folk tales. Folk tales were told aloud before they were ever written down, so it is not known exactly how they began. Throughout the world, there are folk tales that imaginatively explain how something came to be. For example, why the moon, an animal, or a mountain looks the way it does. Folk tales of different cultures include the same kinds of characters. There may be heroes fighting monsters. There may be wise characters solving problems, tricky characters trying to get what they want, and silly characters behaving foolishly. Sometimes these characters are people, and sometimes they're animals who act like people. In addition, the messages found in folktales are often alike across cultures, with themes such as honesty, fairness, and respect. Some folktales teach lessons, some make listeners laugh, and some do both. Okay, that was the example passage. Now, the words, your vocabulary words, there are 5 in mine, and there will be 5 in yours as well. These are the vocabulary words that we're going to be working with. So culture is one. So your assignment will look just like this. So I'm going to go to the text box over here. Insert text box. Doesn't matter what color you use. I'm going to use blue. I'm going to insert a text box right here. Okay, you notice while I'm clicking on it, it's like, oh no, it's not going to work, right? Yeah, it will. It's fine. You might have to insert it up here and then just move it down. Okay, just kind of click on and off until you see the arrow. Yep, and then just move it over here. So if you have difficulty inserting a text box, try to do a little bit of problem solving, guys. Okay, make a text box up here and then just move it. So the first vocabulary word was culture. So right here I'm going to write culture. Okay. I'm going to copy this text box by hitting Control C and then paste it, Control V. You don't have to do that. See, that didn't work very well actually. You can just go over here and make a new text box. Text box, blue, yes. Oh no, it's not working in here. What do I do? Oh, I can put it up here. And then get to where I see the arrows and just move it. Okay, the sentence from the passage with culture. Maybe so because in every culture of the world, I don't have to write the entire sentence. I can just write the phrase that has the word in it. That's okay. In every culture of the world. Adjust the text box so that it fits inside of here. Dictionary definition. Woo woo. All right, so I wrote down like a children's dictionary, Merriam-Webster, that I'd like you to use. Okay, and so it is right here. If you click in Google search, if you click in Merriam-Webster, that would also work. Okay, so I'm going to go to this dictionary and type in culture right here and see what pops up. Culture. So there are a few different entries. Okay, the culture that we used in our passage. Was it the raising or development of a product or crop by careful attention? No, that doesn't make any sense. I wasn't talking about a crop. Improvement of the mind through careful training? No, that's not what we were talking about. A particular stage, form, or kind of civilization? Kind of, we're getting closer now. The beliefs, social practices, and characteristics of a social group. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Or the characteristic features of everyday life shared by people in a particular place. Yes, yes, yes. So I wonder if it'll just let me copy and paste. That would save me some time. So I'm going to highlight this, and I'm going to hit Control C. Control C. And when I go back here, nope. When I go back here, right here, I'm going to make a text box. Drag it down here. Then I'm going to hit Control V. Voila! It's like magic. Cool. Let's see what I have so far. So culture, in every culture of the world. And the dictionary definition was the beliefs, social practices, the characteristics of a racial, religious, or social group. Okay, that's what a culture is. Down here for my personal definition, I'm going to think about what experiences I have with that word culture already. So I remember in high school I had a friend whose family was of the Indian culture. They traveled to India every year. They had family that lived in India still. And I remember when I would go over to her house, the food that her grandmother and her mother made, her home smelled different. And the food tasted different than the food that I was used to. Food is part of a culture. I remember that when my friend went to traditional Indian weddings, she wore beautiful, very colorful, traditional clothing. That was part of their culture. I remember that my friend, she was a different religion than I was. She was Hindu. And so that religion is also part of the culture. Okay? So down here, when I put my text box down here, I'm going to write down some of those examples I'm going to use my thoughts there along with the dictionary definition, and I'm going to create my own definition. So I'm going to say the beliefs, food, clothing, and behavior that make up a group of people. Do you see what I did? I used what I already knew. I used the clues in the passage. I used the dictionary to make my own definition, one that makes sense to me. Because sometimes this happens to me, and I know that it happens to you. When you look up a word in the dictionary and you just write down the definition, it doesn't make any sort of sense. So you have to make sure that it always makes sense to you. So over here, I'm going to use the word culture in its own sentence. Yeah, see, I can make as many text boxes as I want if I just double click over here. And when I have it, just drag it down, okay? My own new sentence using the word culture. Although my culture might be different from my friend's culture, we can still be kind to one another and celebrate our differences. That's my, and I'm going to adjust this text box because I like it to fit a little bit better in there. Boom! Done! I have a very good understanding of culture now. So now when I go back up here and I think about all of that good work that I put into that word culture, and I read, maybe so because in every culture of the world, stories have been passed down from one generation to the next. It's a richer understanding for me now. In all these different cultures, they have stories that have been passed down. Good thinking, fourth graders. And I'm going to put this document up as an example, and when I put it up, it will have the other highlighted words, generation, traditional, in addition, themes. It will have those completed as well. I just wanted to work through one example for you so that you could see the process that you are going to use when you complete your passage and your 5 vocabulary boxes. Awesome. I can't wait for you to grow your vocabulary. Have fun. Don't be stressed. If you need help, let me know. That's it. Bye, fourth graders.